In 1958, Francis Crick laid down the law. It was called the central dogma of molecular biology, and it was beautifully simple. Genetic information flows in one direction. DNA, the master blueprint, is transcribed into a temporary messenger molecule, RNA. That RNA is then translated into a protein, the microscopic machine that does almost everything in your body. DNA to RNA to protein. The flow was supposed to be irreversible, a one-way street at the heart of life itself. But there was a problem. A group of strange viruses, ones that caused tumors in chickens, didn't have any DNA. Their entire genetic code was written in RNA. Yet somehow they could permanently transform the cells they infected, integrating themselves into the host's own DNA blueprint. This shouldn't have been possible. A young researcher named Howard Temin proposed a radical idea in the 1960s. What if these viruses had a way to write their RNA code backwards into DNA? He was largely ignored. It was biological heresy. Then, in 1970, everything changed. Working independently, Howard Temin and another scientist, David Baltimore, both found it. It was the culprit, the missing piece, the biological machine that could perform this impossible task. They had discovered an enzyme. They named it RNA-dependent DNA polymerase, a mouthful of a name for a simple, revolutionary function. We know it today as reverse transcriptase. In a single stroke, the one-way street of genetics was proven to have traffic flowing in both directions. So how does it work? Imagine a cassette tape player, but for genes. The enzyme latches onto a single strand of viral RNA, the tape. It then reads the RNA sequence of bases, A, U, C, and G, and begins to synthesize a brand new, complementary strand made of DNA. It's a meticulous process of reading one language and writing in another. Once the first DNA strand is complete, the enzyme has another trick. It destroys the original RNA template and then synthesizes a second matching DNA strand, creating a stable DNA double helix. From a fragile RNA message, it builds a permanent DNA archive. This molecular magic is the secret weapon of retroviruses, the most famous of which is HIV. When HIV infects a human T cell, it injects its RNA and its payload of reverse transcriptase enzymes. Immediately, the enzymes get to work, transcribing the viral RNA into DNA right in the cell's cytoplasm. This newly minted viral DNA then travels to the cell's nucleus, the high-security vault containing your own genetic code. There, another viral enzyme called integrase snips open your DNA and pastes the viral DNA right in the middle. The cell is now permanently hijacked, forced to read the viral genes as if they were its own. But this unique strategy also presents a profound vulnerability. Because human cells don't typically rely on reverse transcriptase to function, the enzyme becomes a perfect target for antiviral drugs. We can attack the virus without harming the host. Medications like azithromycin or AZT are clever imposters. They are designed to look almost identical to the normal DNA building blocks. The reverse transcriptase enzyme grabs the drug molecule and tries to add it to the growing DNA chain. But the imposter is a dead end. It terminates the chain, halting the replication process in its tracks. You would think an enzyme so crucial for survival would be incredibly precise. But reverse transcriptase is famously sloppy. It lacks the proofreading ability of our own DNA replication machinery. It makes, on average, one error for every 20,000 bases it copies. This high error rate means that nearly every new HIV virus is a slightly different mutant version of the one before it. For the virus, this isn't a bug, it's a feature. This constant mutation is what allows it to rapidly evolve, creating new variants that can evade a person's immune system and develop resistance to antiviral drugs. For decades, this enzyme was seen as a purely alien invader, a tool of disease. But the story is far more intimate. A version of this backward-writing enzyme is working inside your own cells right now. To understand why, you need to look at the very ends of your chromosomes. These ends are capped by protective sequences of DNA called telomeres. Think of them like the plastic tips on a shoelace, preventing the important genetic code from unraveling every time a cell divides. With each division, these telomeres get a little bit shorter. If they got too short, cells would stop dividing and die. The enzyme that prevents this is called telomerase, and at its heart, it is a specialized reverse transcriptase. It carries its own tiny RNA template inside itself. It uses this template to read and then write new DNA code onto the ends of the chromosomes, lengthening them. This process is essential for cells that need to divide a lot, like stem cells. But there's a dark side. Cancer cells hijack this system, turning on their telomerase to achieve a twisted form of biological immortality, allowing them to divide endlessly. The enzyme's influence goes even deeper, into the very structure of your genome. Almost half of your DNA isn't genes for making you. It's composed of ancient, inactivated viruses and other strange jumping elements called retrotransposons. These are molecular parasites. They contain the instructions for making their own reverse transcriptase. They transcribe themselves into RNA, then use the enzyme to convert that RNA back into a new DNA copy, which then inserts itself somewhere else in your genome. Your DNA is a massive graveyard and a living museum of millions of years of this backward copying. This raises a profound question. Why is this backward mechanism so widespread? The answer might take us back to the very dawn of life. The RNA world hypothesis suggests that before DNA, life used the more versatile but less stable RNA molecule for everything. RNA stored information, and RNA enzymes called ribozymes catalyzed reactions. How did life make the leap to the more stable DNA system we see today? Reverse transcriptase might be the missing link. A molecular fossil from that ancient transition, the tool that allowed the first organisms to archive their fragile RNA genomes into the durable format of DNA. It didn't break the rules, it may have written them. The central dogma was never wrong, it was just incomplete. It described the most common flow of traffic, but not the only one. The discovery of reverse transcriptase revealed that genetic information is not a static blueprint read in one direction. It is a dynamic, fluid system, a conversation. RNA can talk back to DNA, writing and rewriting the archives. Our own genomes are a testament to this, filled with the echoes of this backward process. The enzyme that reads backwards didn't just give us new diseases and new medicines, it gave us a new understanding of the deep, strange, and ancient history of life itself. Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.